What if the next Dubai wasn't built by oil? What if Africa's most modern cities weren't built by government, but by traders, engineers, manufacturers, and diaspora investors? Across Southeast Nigeria, one ethnic group already dominates manufacturing, commerce, and real estate. But here is the real question. What exactly can Igbos do to build world-class cities that rival Singapore, Dubai, and Shanghai? Today, we break down the blueprint and why the future of African cities may begin in Igboland. Across the world, cities define civilization. From New York to Dubai, from Singapore to Shenzhen, urban centers are not just places to live. They are engines of wealth, innovation, culture, and national power. But in Southeast Nigeria, something unusual is happening. Despite decades of limited federal investment, cities like Onitsha, Aba, Nnewi, Awka, Owerri, Umuahia, Enugu, and Olu continue to grow, not because of government planning, but because of private enterprise. Markets expand, industries emerge, housing estates multiply. Roads are built by communities, electricity is sometimes privately generated, water is locally sourced, security increasingly community-driven, and yet, these cities still fall short of global standards. The question is no longer whether Igbos can build world-class cities. The question is how. And more importantly, what exactly must be done differently to make it happen? The Igbo people possess one of the most powerful urban development assets in the world, a deeply rooted private enterprise culture. In most countries, cities grow when government builds infrastructure and businesses follow. In Igboland, businesses arrive first and infrastructure struggles to catch up. This inversion is both a weakness and a hidden superpower, because when capital, entrepreneurship, and population growth already exist, what remains is organization, planning, and institutional coordination. Few regions in Africa produce more traders, engineers, industrialists, real estate developers, transport operators, manufacturers, and diaspora investors per capita than the Southeast. And across history, wherever Igbos settle, from Lagos to Accra, from London to Houston, they build commercial districts that flourish. This means the problem is not ability. The problem is structure. World-class cities are not built by wealth alone. They are built by systems. No global city ever emerged accidentally. London, Dubai, Singapore, Seoul, Shanghai, Shenzhen, each followed a master plan, zoning laws, transit corridors, industrial districts, residential densities, green belt, and business clusters. In Igboland today, urban growth is organic but chaotic. Markets expand into highways, housing estates emerge without drainage, commercial buildings block evacuation routes, industrial zones mix with residential streets, flooding worsens, traffic paralysis becomes routine. World-class cities require order before beauty. The first responsibility of Igbo business professionals, architects, engineers, surveyors, urban planners, lawyers, developers, community leaders is to build enforceable city master plans, not theoretical documents that gather dust in government offices. But more importantly, the private sector must fund and enforce planning compliance themselves. Estate developers, associations, town unions, market unions, diaspora organizations, chamber of commerce, These bodies already wield more influence than many local governments. If developers refuse to buy land outside zoning standards, chaos collapses naturally. Cities are not controlled by policy alone, they are controlled by capital behavior. Waiting for government to build first is a luxury developed nations once had. But emerging economies that leapfrog do the opposite. Across Igboland, communities already build roads, drainage systems, electricity lines, water boreholes, and security networks. But world-class cities demand industrial-scale infrastructure, not scattered interventions. What changes cities permanently are mass transit systems, integrated drainage networks, 24-hour electricity, waste-to-energy systems, digital infrastructure, industrial parks, and logistic corridors. Instead of waiting for state governments, Igbo private capital can form infrastructure consortium, city-level infrastructure funds financed by diaspora bonds, cooperative investment trusts, private equity pools, land value capture systems, and merchant associations. Once roads, power, and water become stable, industries multiply instantly. Infrastructure is not a cost, it is a profit multiplier. Every kilometer of road unlocks land value. Every megawatt of power unlocks factories. Every drainage system unlocks housing density. Cities that wait for government stagnate. Cities that build dominate. No city in the world reaches world-class status without efficient mass transit. Traffic congestion is not a transport problem, it is an economic disease. When workers spend hours in traffic, productivity collapses. When goods move slowly, costs skyrocket. When emergency vehicles are trapped, cities become dangerous. Igbo cities require bus rapid transit corridors, light rail or tram networks, organized intercity terminals, walkable districts, dedicated freight corridors. This does not require federal government intervention. It requires municipal-private partnership, funded through ticket revenue, land value capture, advertising, station area development, and real estate appreciation. Markets, estates, universities, industrial clusters, airports, and ports must be connected by predictable transport systems, not a chaotic transport union. A city that moves smoothly attracts investors faster than a city with cheap lands. Most Igbo cities are expanding horizontally, outward sprawl, consuming farmland, forests, and villages. World-class cities grow vertically. Density creates efficient infrastructure, workable communities, lower service cost, faster transit, stronger business clusters, higher tax efficiency, high-rise mixed-use districts, combining housing, offices, retails, hospitals, hotels, schools, entertainment, and land transit hubs are not luxuries, they are necessities. Instead of endless estates of bungalows and duplexes, Igbo developers must pioneer transit-oriented development, vertical commercial districts, affordable high-rise housing, smart city estates, industrial residential clusters. Land is infinite. Cities that spread outward collapse under infrastructure cost. Cities that rise upward compound wealth. No global city thrives solely on commerce. New York manufactures finance. Shanghai manufactures goods. Shenzhen manufactures technology. Dubai manufactures logistics and services. Igbo City already dominates trade, but must now dominate production, Each major city must develop manufacturing corridors, export processing zones, tech parks, agro-processing hubs, medical manufacturing zones, automotive clusters, pharmaceutical industrial estates. Nnewi has shown what happens when industry concentrates. Now imagine Aba as Africa's leader and garment manufacturing capital, Onitsha as West Africa's logistics and trade gateway, Awka as industrial engineering hub, Enugu as education and knowledge capital, Owerri as tourism and entertainment capital, Umuahia as agro-processing and biotech city, Olu as manufacturing corridor. Cities do not grow by accident, they grow by specialization. No city can be world-class on unstable electricity. This is not negotiable. The future belongs to embedded power systems, gas-powered mini-grids, solar farms, waste-to-energy plants, industrial captive power plants, district energy systems. Igbo industrialists already generate private electricity for factories. The next stage is to generate city-scale power networks. Electricity is not utility. It is the backbone of manufacturing, healthcare, education, data centers, water treatment, security systems, and modern housing. Without stable electricity, cities remain villages with tall buildings. With power, villages become metropolises. The most important parts of world-class cities are invisible: drainage systems, waste treatment plants, recycling networks, sewage treatment facilities, flood management infrastructure, grain corridors, urban forests. Many Igbo cities flood annually, not because of rain, but because of blocked drainages and unplanned construction. World-class cities treat waste as raw materials, not debts. Recycling plants, composting systems, waste-to-energy facilities, water reclamation plants. Clean cities attract tourists. Healthy cities attract talent. Organized cities attract investment. No investor trusts a city that floods annually. Investors do not fear risk, they fear uncertainty. Security is not built only by policing. It is built by lighting, roads, jobs, surveillance systems, emergency response networks, urban design, and community intelligence. Well-lit streets reduce crime. Active commercial zones reduce insecurity. Fast emergency response saves lives. Organized transport reduces chaos. Smart cities use CCTV systems, emergency response centers, AI-enabled traffic management, public lighting grids, digital identity and property registries. Security is urban infrastructure. World-class cities are not run like villages. They are managed by city managers, transport authorities, infrastructure agencies, urban planning commissions, environmental protection authorities, development control agencies, public utilities commission. But in Igboland, governance can leapfrog by embracing city corporations, professionally run urban management companies owned by municipalities, communities, diaspora investors, and private shareholders. Instead of politicized ministries, cities can adopt performance-driven city management models where roads are maintained by concessionaires, power is managed by utility firms, transport by transit authorities, waste by private sanitation firms, water by district utilities, parks by city trusts. Cities should be run like companies, not ministries. World-class cities are not only functional, they are symbolic. They tell stories, architecture, museums, cultural centers, public squares, libraries, art districts, heritage zones, music halls, innovation hubs. Igbo cities must reflect Igbo identity, not as nostalgia, but as modern civilization expression. Urban architecture should blend Igbo motifs, modernist engineering, African minimalism, green design, smart city technology. Cities should host technology festivals, film festivals, cultural expos, trade fairs, innovation summits, diaspora investment conferences. Culture attracts tourists. Tourists attract money. Money attracts infrastructure. Cities are not built with budgets alone. They are built with financial engineering. Igbo cities can fund transformation through diaspora city bonds, land value capture systems, infrastructure investment trust, real estate investment funds, merchant cooperative fund, public-private partnership, special economic zones, municipal revenue corporations, property tax reforms, urban development levies. Land around infrastructure projects multiplies in value. If cities capture even a fraction of that increase, infrastructure pays for itself. No region in Africa has more globally mobile capital and professional talents per capita than Igboland. Doctors in the US, engineers in Canada, architects in Europe, bankers in Dubai, technologists in Asia, entrepreneurs in China, academics in Australia. This diaspora network is not just money, it is knowledge transfer. Cities rise fastest when diaspora expertise is institutionalized, not when remittances build scattered houses. Igbo cities must create diaspora investment authorities, city development boards, global Igbo urban councils, international professional exchange programs, city accelerator programs, diaspora urban fellowship. Diaspora capital must shift from personal estates to public infrastructure. This single change could transform Southeast Nigeria faster than any federal allocation. World-class cities are talent magnets. Universities, technical colleges, vocational schools, innovation hubs, startup incubators, research institutes, medical schools, engineering academies. Cities that dominate knowledge dominate the future. Igbo cities must upgrade universities into research powerhouses, build technical training centers, link education directly to industry, fund innovation hubs, support startup with venture capital, partner with global institutions. A city that trains talent exports influence. No world-class city operates without world-class healthcare. Medical tourism is a trillion-dollar industry. Igbo cities must build teaching hospitals, medical research centers, biotech parks, pharmaceutical manufacturing zones, digital health networks, health insurance systems. Instead of exporting patients abroad, cities must export medical services. Healthcare is both infrastructure and economic engine. Cities that attract tourists attract investment. Beaches, resorts, waterfronts, theme parks, convention centers, sports arenas, cultural villages, nightlife districts, ecotourism hubs, from Oguta Lake to Awun waterfalls, from Obunike Cave to Enugu's hills, from Obudu, Plateau access routes. to Idemili River corridors, Igbo cities possess natural tourism assets that remain largely underdeveloped. Tourism is not leisure, it is foreign exchange. World-class cities run on fiber optic networks, data centers, smart city platforms, e-governance systems, digital payment, urban data analytics, AI-driven infrastructure management. Cities that digitize governance, reduce corruption, accelerate services, and attract global firms. Tech infrastructure costs less than physical infrastructure, but its impact multiplies faster. In 1980, Shenzhen was a fishing village. Today, it is a 500 billion GDP megacity. What changed? Special economic zones, infrastructure-first investment, manufacturing clusters, export-driven industrialization, technology upgrading, urban density, talent attraction, private enterprise dominance. Igbo cities already have something Shenzhen didn't. Massive entrepreneurial culture, strong trade networks, deep diaspora capital, manufacturing foundation, land ownership systems, community mobilization structure. What they lack is coordination. Coordination is civilization. To build world-class cities, Igboland must execute master planning enforcement, private sector-led infrastructure, mass transit systems, vertical high-density development, industrial specialization, stable city scale power, environmental infrastructure, professional city governance, diaspora capital mobilization, talent ecosystem development, healthcare cities, tourism hubs, digital city platforms, financial engineering systems, cultural identity architecture. Cities are not built by speeches, they are built by systems. This is not about buildings, this is about civilization survival. Cities determine wealth creation, employment, education quality, healthcare access, security, political influence, cultural dominance, technological power, diaspora retention, national relevance. Without strong cities, regions decline, no matter their culture, intelligence, or history. But with strong cities, even small populations shape global outcomes. The world is entering the age of urban competition. Countries are no longer competing, cities are. The next global economic center will emerge not only from Europe, America, or East Asia, but from Africa. And in Africa, few regions possess the entrepreneurial intensity of Igboland, the diaspora network of Igbos, the industrial foundation of Aba and Nnewi, the trade dominance of Onitsha, the education culture of Enugu, the tourist energy of Owerri, the administrative potential of Olu, and the agro-processing power of Umuahia. The ingredients already exist. What remains is organization, vision, discipline, and collective action. World-class cities are not built by government alone. They are built by people who refuse to accept mediocrity as destiny. And that spirit, that refusal, that drive has defined the Igbo story for centuries. The question now is simple. Will it define the cities of the future? If you believe Igbo cities can rise to global standards, not through politics, but through private enterprise, discipline, and vision, then this channel is for you. Subscribe to 1010 Media, like this video, share it with every Igbo professional, entrepreneur, student, investors, and diaspora network you know. Because the future of Southeast Nigeria will not be built by government alone. It will be built by us.